New York City, do you agree or disagree with the president?
Well, I disagree on this policy on Iraq. Oh, gosh, there's so many things to say. Representative Paul, it's a pleasure to have you on today. You are such a breath of fresh air. You must be an endangered species down there in Texas. That's all that I can say, first of all. In response to that, what the lady just said about, the religious thing, I'll just bring up, who would Jesus bomb or who would Jesus kill? I mean, we're about to go to war and kill tens of thousands of innocent people who haven't done anything to us. Also, Saddam gassed his own people, and so in response, we're going to kill his people to save him from killing his own people. I mean, what the heck are they talking about over there? The CIA has said and stood by the assessment Iraq is not a danger to use its weapons of mass destruction unless we attack him first. So what do these guys come up with? We're going to attack him first. Sir, I mean, are you sure you're a Republican from Texas? Because you are a breath of fresh air. And absolutely no case has been made. If we don't oppose this war, kicking and screaming, we citizens are all accessories to murder. And apparently exhibiting ignorance and stupidity is the ultimate gauge of one's patriotism, because both are required to support Bush and company in this so-called war. We've squandered the world's sympathy since September 11th. As one caller said, every country, including despotic dictatorships, have a right to defend themselves. And sadly, when and not if a catastrophic response against our nation, such as a plague of smallpox, occurs, the world will shake its head and they'll say that we got what we deserved. And I'm sorry, that's a lot to say, but that's all I have to say today.
Well, I think that's very good, and I think what we have to remember, though, is that if we do nothing, are we that much worse off? And I can't see where we are. I think we're just stirring up a hornet's nest. And we also have to remember that we have been allies of Saddam Hussein. I mean, we say we know he has certain things. Well, we do because we helped provide for him. I mean, we were his ally. And they say, oh, we had to go in and stop him in Kuwait. Of course, we were with him when he was invading Iran. So we should. People say, well, we don't have to be consistent. Well, I have this terrible habit of wanting to try to be consistent and develop a philosophy that is coherent. But how can we support invasion one day and the next day yell and scream and invade them? And I have a little bit of experience with this. The lady mentioned before that she was a member of the Veterans of Foreign War. I'm also a member. I served 5 years in the military in the 60s. And as a physician, I know a little bit about that. Fortunately, I didn't have to go to Vietnam and have my legs shot off. But it also motivates me to think, I don't want anybody's legs shot off for some reason that is not justified, and it's not a declared war. I think that should be the litmus test of everybody in this country and everybody over on the Hill, too. If this war is worth fighting, are you willing to go and lose your legs, lose your life, or send your kids or send your grandkids? If you're willing to go and expose your life, then I really believe you're sincere about this war.
Tell us again about the legislation that you introduced on the floor yesterday, and how much support have you got for it so far?
Well, it's too early to tell, and I'm sure the leadership will not be jumping to support this legislation. The legislation rescinds the authority given to the president, which was given to him in the fall of last year, to give him the authority to wage war when he pleased. And I believed it was an unconstitutional transfer of power from the legislative branch to the executive branch. And if you want to do that, you have to amend the Constitution. The war power resolution and war power has to be in the hands, in this country, in the hands of the legislative branch. And I fear that as much as the war itself. The war is one issue, but the way we're going to war is also very important.
Boise, Idaho, do you agree or disagree with the president on Iraq?
I agree. I was just going to talk to Senator Jeffries there. That's what he reminds me of. It sounds like the Congressional Black Caucus. Are you an honorary member of that organization? It sounds like they hate this country and our president just as much, and this is the argument I always hear from them. It's just odd that you guys would put us all, bet our lives on this. If you're wrong, God help us all.
And what if you're wrong? That's a big if too. No, we have a right to go to war, and we should, in self-defense. Isn't it interesting that the word hate comes up? I mean, I'm not a hateful person. Matter of fact, I love my country, and I love freedom, and I love the Constitution. And now it's gotten, if you're a strict constitutionalist, if you say, you know, you can't do this and you can't do this, you follow the rule of law is important, the rule of man is a danger, that it's turned around now, and it is now said that I hate my country. That to me is rather sad, and it's rather scary too, because all I'm saying is, even if I'm wrong on this, what's wrong with saying let's go to war in a legitimate fashion? Let's do it legitimately, and then if we have a vote in the Congress and we go to war, I'll be supportive, because I will say this is what our country decided on. So I'm arguing for the rule of law, but I find it fascinating but scary that an individual like myself can be said to be hateful to my country. Love freedom, and therefore you hate your country. Wow.
Since the 106th Congress, about 28 times, you have been the sole dissenter on a number of different resolutions in the House. One that comes to mind was giving a gold medal to Charles Schulz, the creator of the Peanuts cartoon. Why is that?
It's back to the same philosophy that gold medals weren't authorized in the Constitution, and these medals don't cost a lot, but they cost like $36,000. And my argument on the House floor has been, you know, if we feel that it's important to honor people, why don't we donate the money ourselves? And their argument is, well, it would cost too much, but we should use the taxpayers' money. So my point there is, if you're willing to bend the rules a little bit for seemingly unimportant issues and small amounts of money, you'll do it on the big issues such as war. So I think if you want to believe in the Constitution and the Republic, you have to obey the rules and the laws all the time. You can't just pick and choose. So this is why the gentleman is correct. I do have allies in the Black Caucus because they have been more opposed to war. But that doesn't mean they hate their country. But I happen to oppose the Black Caucus on the welfare system. You know, because it's a lot of big spending, and I don't think it works very well. I think corporations end up getting more benefits out of public housing than poor people. I mean, we have more poor people and homeless people now than ever. So I see this as an economic issue as well as a constitutional issue. But yes, I do work with civil libertarians on the left, but to call me liberal in the conventional sense is just not true. I mean, if you look at my NTU score, I get the highest score, so they're going to have to figure that out. They could probably read my webpage and try to figure it out.
Representative Ron Paul, Republican of Texas, thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
We're going to go now to live coverage of the National Prayer Breakfast at the Washington Hilton Hotel.